Hey everybody, you're watching We the Fandom, where we discuss comic books, pop culture, and the fandom experience. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more content. How's it going, everybody? Jacob here at We the Fandom, and I just watched The Tomorrow War for the second time. Pretty rare these days that I want to watch a new movie a second time, especially after having seen it so recently, but this movie was just as good the second time, so I wanted to do a review because it was just fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of plot holes, as well as just silly writing, and I will go over that stuff. Also, by no means am I saying that this is a masterpiece of a film, but I do think that it's somewhat unique by today's standards, because it's kind of just a traditional action alien film. Man saves the world from aliens. Simple, basic, and people have complained about that. They've complained that it's simple action movie with a generic male action lead, but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with a movie that just entertains? But as for the plot, the movie starts off in December of 2022, where biology teacher and former Green Beret Dan Forrester finds out that he hasn't gotten a job at a prestigious research center. While watching the broadcast of the World Cup with his family, soldiers from the year 2051 arrive to warn that humanity is on the brink of extinction due to a war with alien invaders referred to as the White Spikes, who will arrive in 2048 and kill the majority of humanity within 3 years after their arrival. The world responds by creating a wormhole device called JumpLink and instituting an international draft due to the fact that less than 30% of people survive their 7-day deployment. Dan finds out that he's been drafted and he visits his estranged father, a mechanical engineer, for help in removing the draft band attached to his arm. We find out during their conversation that Dan's father left him and his mother after he returned from the Vietnam War because he felt it was dangerous to remain with them. But Dan ends up leaving, claiming that he doesn't want his father's help after all because his father is a coward. Dan reports to basic training with other draftees where they are briefed from future soldiers about the White Spikes, and it's pretty obvious from the people that show up there that the world governments are just throwing people at this future threat because most of them would not have qualified for actual basic training. But Dan, with the help of another draftee named Charlie, figure out that it's all been worked out to prevent a time paradox. Those drafted have already died before the war starts, and those who have come from the future haven't been born yet. The draftees are sent forward in time to a battlefield on Miami Beach, but due to a glitch in the system, few of them survive as they all get dropped from high up in the sky into a city with no parachutes. Colonel Forrester, who is someone that we hear on comms, orders the draftees to rescue nearby lab personnel before the area is quote-unquote sterilized. They discover the lab personnel are already dead, but are able to recover the research. Dan radios command about the situation, and he's told that no help will be sent to rescue the stranded troops. And as the place is about to be bombed, they try to get away, but nearly everyone dies except for Charlie, Dan, and Dorian, who is a battle-hardened soldier who's now on his 3rd deployment to the future. The survivors wake up in a military encampment in the Dominican Republic, and Dan reports to Colonel Forrester, who turns out to be his grown daughter, Murray. They end up going on a mission together to go capture a female White Spike, which are apparently very rare. They trap and cage the female, but she calls out, leading hundreds of males to descend on their position. And as the helicopter with the female lifts off, Dan and Murray escape to a beach waiting for rescue, where Murray tells Dan that in her past, he had left the family due to dissatisfaction with his job and had ended up dying in a car crash in the year 2030. And then afterwards, Dan, Murray, and the female White Spike are then transported to a fortified oil rig near the Bahamas, where the antenna for the JumpLink is located. Murray and Dan work together to create a toxin that can kill the White Spikes, but while they're doing that, the White Spikes end up attacking and overrunning the base to free the female. Murray sacrifices herself to send Dan back to the past. For some reason, he tries to save her, even though he's the only one who can take the toxin back to the past and prevent any of this from ever happening. Luckily, the JumpLink pulls him out just before he dies. He does end up returning to 2023 with the toxin, but the JumpLink is now destroyed, so he can't go back to see if anyone survived. And the world, at that time, knowing that the JumpLink is destroyed, believes it's because the future war was lost, and so everybody kind of just gives up. Now at home, Dan and his wife Emmy are brainstorming trying to figure out the origin of the White Spikes. She deduces that the White Spikes did not arrive in 2048, but must have shown up much earlier. Dan consults with Charlie and Martin being a super nerdy high school student who is obsessed with volcanoes, and they theorize that the White Spikes have been on Earth since at least the quote-unquote millennium eruption in the year 946, and global warming caused them to thaw out and emerge from under the ice caps. They try taking this theory to the United States Defense Secretary, but he declines to investigate, which seems a little unrealistic, but then again, government bureaucracy. So Dan leads a mission to Russia with Charlie, Dorian, a few surviving future soldiers, and his estranged father, James, to Russia to try and find the White Spikes themselves. The team finds a crashed alien ship at the Academy of Sciences Glacier. They debate telling the world about the problem, but decide to end the threat themselves. Once inside, they realize that the White Spikes are not the aliens themselves, but rather bioengineered organisms possibly used as a planet-clearing weapon or cattle by another alien race. why they don't go more in depth with this other alien race who is able to travel the galaxy, I don't know. However, there is a sequel being planned out right now, so maybe we'll find out in the future. But anyways, the team injects 5 of the dormant white spikes with the toxin. This kills the injected ones, but ends up waking the rest of the colony, and most of the team is killed. Dorian, who we find out is terminally ill with cancer and wanting to die on his own terms, stays behind to blow up the ship with C4, and the explosion kills all but one of the white spikes, which is of course the female. And then of course we get the final showdown. Dan and his father hunt and kill the one female that escaped, leaving them and Charlie as the only team survivors. The movie ends with Dan finally content, knowing that the war is averted and humanity is saved. Dan brings his father to meet his wife and his daughter for the first time, because he basically doesn't want to make the same mistakes that his past/future self had made, that he was warned about with his daughter from the future. So yeah. Fun movie. Let's talk about some of the writing and plot holes. First off, even though Chris Pratt looks the part, he's just not a very believable Green Beret in my opinion, or even as a tech guy. I don't know why, but it was just difficult for me to get over that part. In terms of time travel logic, the writing is definitely wonky. Like when adult Murray wants to send Dan back to the past with the toxin, he agrees, but then says that afterwards he'll come back to save her, even though taking the toxin back would wipe out her timeline. Also, there's the fact that instead of just re-tranquilizing the queen, they had to go out to the helicopter where the horde of white spikes was. I already mentioned the part about how, despite Dan being the hope for his own future, he tries to jump into the horde to save his adult daughter who is already dying anyways. And then there's the ending where the gang stupidly decides to inject a bunch of white spikes other than the female, leading to a number of sacrifices and the dramatic boss fight in the end. While there is a lot of nonsensical choices made in the writing, in reality I think a lot of it can be chalked up to wanting there to be drama and tense action. Certain moments happened to show us the strong attachment between Dan and his daughter, so they could pay off him losing a future version of his daughter to save the one in the past, as well as the final boss fight needing to happen in order to give Dan the push to try and have a relationship with his father. If you don't think about the logic of the movie too much, it's a good movie. And that's the thing. This movie isn't pretentious. They aren't pretending like this is a Christopher Nolan film. You get exactly what's advertised. So many people these days complain about movies in terms of diversity and representation. You know, like, oh my god, this movie only has 3 black characters. Why did this movie have no gay characters? The lead was a female, but why did she need help from a male character? They don't usually question the writing or the entertainment value to the same degree. What they care about are vaguely defined diversity quotas that are just never good enough. I don't know about you guys, but I just wanted to be entertained. The lead could have been a gay black man and it wouldn't have changed anything, because the movie isn't about representation. The fact that the lead was black and gay wouldn't really have been addressed in the film, because you can just see it with your own eyes. So instead of the writers wasting time in the movie to pander, they just focused on the action. No socio-political messaging, just entertainment. Now there is a message in the movie, but it's not agenda driven, because while the bulk of the movie sees human beings time traveling to the future to fight aliens, the core point of the movie is that there's this guy who believes he was meant for a greater purpose in terms of his career, only to learn that his greatest purpose would be his family and saving his daughter's future. He stops taking his life with his family for granted and even starts to rebuild his relationship with his father. But let me know if you guys enjoyed the movie and why in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. I'll see you all next time. Bye.